Hello there. Today's videos, vintage style farmhouse home decor DIYs. I have about 3 pretty little projects here I can't wait to share with you. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and let's jump into our craft room. Okay, first project, we're going to start with this cute little basket. I got it probably at Michael's a few years ago, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some styrofoam in the bottom of it, and you're gonna see me put some hot glue on here. What you're in a moment, you can see all the heat coming off of that. I had my glue gun has 2 settings: normal hot glue that will burn you, and then molten hot liquid magma from the core of the earth heat that will literally remove your entire finger from your hand. Yeah, I had it on the bad setting. Don't do that. So I ended up having to cut some of that styrofoam off and reapply. But anyways, the styrofoam's secured down in there. So after you've got your styrofoam secured into your pretty basket, I'm going to put some Spanish moss in, and then I'm going to grab this little wreath here. Now, I've got 2 of these, and I got them at Hobby Lobby a while ago. If you see, this wreath used to be a full one, but it originally was $59.99. Nobody pays full price, but Hobby Lobby decided to mark it down to $14.99, and I couldn't say no. And then I believe from that, I even got more off of it because I bought this so many years ago. It's ridiculous. But basically, if you untwist these little pieces, you get perfect little picks of cotton here. Now, normally those picks would be probably maybe $3, $4, $5 each. These are very large pieces of cotton. They have really good weight to them, and the what do you call it? Those little wooden pieces there of the actual cotton ball itself are very good. It's good structure. So I couldn't say no. So again, when you look at items in the stores and you see them on sale, look at them as though they're going to be pieced for parts. You don't always have to look at them as they're intended. So I have a whole nother wreath, and then of course what's left over on this one here, and then that's been in my supply for a while. So, a while back cotton was super popular. It was in everything. Now it's just, it's hit and miss now, but I still love the way cotton looks, especially like the little pictures of cotton. This is so cute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fill the basket here with cotton. Now, I originally had planned on only putting cotton in here. This was going to be more country, more rustic, but I ended up adding a couple green pieces later because I just can't say no to greenery. But also, what I'm having a little bit of difficulty here is the styrofoam's not big enough, so I have to push things down further into the basket, and it ended up looking kind of a little jumbled. So you see here, I took one out. This one's an entire piece that I didn't cut apart. All those other ones you saw me, I cut them apart to be basically about 2 picks each. And then from here, I am just going to find its new home and basically just jab those pieces of, the cut picks into the styrofoam that's in there. So this girl's not coming apart. Now, I'm going to add a cute little gift tag to the outside of it here. Now, this little bundle of gift tags I got at Hobby Lobby some time back. This is in their party section. You can get regular and white and black. I got the white ones. And now I'm going to use a new stencil I got from Essential Stencil here. I'm going to use this cotton one. And along with that, I'm going to use my ground espresso archival ink and a little finger dauber here that I got from Amazon. And I'm going to stencil this cotton picture onto these cute little tags. Now, the tag itself is already finished. I don't have to paint it. I don't have to seal it. I'm not using any type of paint. I'm using an archival ink, so once it's dry, it's permanent. But I almost want to show you here. These little finger daubers are pretty awesome from Amazon. You can also get, some of them have a different type of handle on them, but these work out really well. I got a decent holder. I want to say I got like a maybe 25-piece set, but you'll see I have an Amazon link in my description, in my pinned comment below. If you want to take a peek at some of the supplies I say here I get on Amazon, you can always take a peek there. And then of course, if you purchase anything from my Amazon link, I do get a small return from that, so that every little bit helps. But again, if you're interested in some of the supplies I use from Amazon, you can take a peek at that there. Now, the stencil itself is Essential Stencils. I do not have any type of affiliate link for that, but that is just, look how cute that is. They're also Essential Stencils doing like a big spring type sale thing right now, but I couldn't say no to this. So if you noticed, I had a little bit of a mess up there. Just got a little bit of the ink on the outside of the stencil there. I had already planned on distressing the outside edge of it, so this basically works to our favor. And go ahead and just, with the same inked up little finger dauber, we're going to go around all the edges and the sides. What I end up doing is the exact same thing on the opposite side, just in case the tag gets pushed over. So we have a double-sided tag, and I will show you that a little bit later. Now, here's the eucalyptus I added. It was just, I kind of can't not. I'm using a double negative. I kind of can't not. I cannot not put greenery in things. I've tried. I want to, but it just doesn't work out. So here I'm just adding a couple picks. I had literally, I think, only like 2 pieces left over on a used up bundle from a previous project, and this is like a springy time one that's just got a dusty look to it. This eucalyptus is super pretty. So I just tucked these in. And again, I wasn't going for balance. I wasn't going for anything being identical. Do you see here? It's like you got a little bit of greenery on the left and then a bigger piece here on the right. And that's just what makes me happy. So now you see a bow in the background here. We're going to use it on the next project because I spent way too much time making that bow and the bow was way too big for the basket. So I'm just showing you that I put the jute on the top of the tag. And now I'm going to tie this tag to the side of our basket. Now don't worry, that bow, we're going to go into detail on our next project because I basically made a project to put that bow on so that we don't have to waste it because it was so cute. But again, the bow turned out to be way too big for this basket. It was too overwhelming on the top and the sides. It just was ridiculous. So I ended up putting it to the side, and we're just going to do a cute little short little deal here with some jute. So I'm going to staple the top of this jute twine that I put on our tag to the handle of the basket. It's just another way to secure things because we're also going to put some more jute over the top of this here. So you can see I have the staple in, and I have it so that the tag is on the side. It's not going to be moved around too much. But again, I stenciled the back of the sign of that little tag as well. So just in case it twirls or gets flipped over, we're good to go. But now I'm just going to make a very simple little bundled bow with the jute. So I'm taking this very tiny, my tiny little spool of jute that I got from Amazon, and I'm just bundling it in my hands. It is literally has no rhyme or reason as to how I'd bundle it. So you see the jute that I cut there top. I'm taking a piece of denim. I have, and again, I'll show you how I made all this too on the next project. I just cut up a bunch of strips of denim off of a pair of like jean shorts or some jeans I got from the thrift store a couple years ago for a project. I love adding this. I've been addicted to this denim since I started doing those carrot videos a couple months ago. It's just something about it. It's very vintagey, country, something. I don't know what. It's something. It just makes me happy. So I'm bundling that together too. So with the denim, I made like a little awareness ribbon shape, and then I kind of take the center and squish it together. I just layered it on top of those loops that I made in the jute. And I'm just tying another piece of jute into the center. So I'm tying literally a square knot so that it doesn't come apart. And at this point, I have to keep looking. I don't remember if I twined it. Yeah, I did. I wrapped some more of it down into the middle, just kind of messing with the bow and the tails. Some of those pieces that we used to secure it here, I'm going to wrap it around the center. Right here in this part, when I'm wrapping these bows in the center, it's very easy for me to get sidetracked and do it a little bit too much. Just have to calm down, make sure it's even, and then apply some hot glue to the top of it. And then basically the center is like a cute little bundle. It's like that perfect bow center. I like it when the center of a bow is thicker and you can see that it's been kind of bundled or bound together. I don't know what it is about. It's like a classic bow shape. It just makes me happy. After I do all that, I have another piece of jute here I'm going to add as another tail, just because I didn't want to throw it away. And I'm going to put this bow on a little bit diagonal. I like a little diagonally crooked. I like it to be a little bit off, a little bit weird, a little bit weathered. It has a story to tell. Its story is that it's leaning to the side. And now here's a piece of cotton that broke off of another one of those picks from before. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to glue it to the top. Kind of tuck it in so it looks like it's kind of tucked into the top of that bow. And I'm loving it, but I was like, okay, well, you can see a little bit. I put a little bit too much glue. You can see that the glue's kind of squooshed out a little bit there, but I was like, what can I put here? Buttons. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I like buttons, and I know you guys like them too, because I got so many comments about you guys loving the button thing too. Now this little box here, buttons, is it's a gift box, but I put my buttons in it. This is a bundle of natural buttons. It's just wood buttons, so there's blues and browns and stuff, but it's like natural wood, so it's not finished or anything. And I just took a combination of all these little buttons, and I found different sizes, different shapes, different textures on these buttons, and I just kind of made like a little button collage there at the top of that bow to kind of mask or hide some of the imperfections, or if the glue was showing. And I did get a little bit of glue around the outside, and I'll show you in a second. After I apply the buttons, I'm going to put them in on their sides. I'm not necessarily just going to glue them straight down to anything. Do you see there? I kind of added some glue, and then I tucked that little navy blue button in. And then I gotta look for one little teeny itty bitty button. And I find like the teeniest little itty bitty button. It's so cute. Look right here. Look how teeny. It's so cute. And then I'm kind of sticking this at the top. Now, this is where I got a little bit of glue off to the side. It's like a little bit too much glue. So what I do is I'm going to take my heat, because again, and then I stuck my finger in it so it turns the hot glue white because it wasn't done, cooling off. I just put a little bit of heat on it, and that will remelt, reactivate the hot glue, and then you don't see it because it turns clear and then it'll dry clear. And that's it. So that little button thing, that little, what do you call it? The detour, button detour, which button detours are always welcome, right? I think really made the project, but look how cute this tag is. I'll show you in the back. Look, there's a two-sided tag just in case. And again, the stenciling with the archival ink is super fast. It dries immediately and it's permanent. And it's also not too hard to clean off of your stencils. I just use a baby wipe as soon as I'm done stenciling, and pretty much all my stencils stay solid. But tell me what you think. I like the basket itself. I didn't have to really refinish anything. The tag already came in the color white. The basket was a great smoky gray black color. And then all of these colors lend to that farmhouse feel that I like so much. Also, I said vintage, but basically just title it anything that makes you happy. This particular, all these colors and textures together just make me happy. Gives me that happy squishy feeling. But tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think about her. Would you do anything different? Would you add anything more? And then what do you think about that little added denim? I've been addicted to adding some denim to everything for some reason. Now, here's our pretty bow. Remember? We made this pretty bow, and I wasn't going to just let it sit off to the side because it's so dang cute. It's like fancy farmhouse because I put some tulle in it. Now, I went and found in my stash this broken picture frame. I got at Hobby Lobby. So regularly $15, got it down for $3.74, probably because of this edge that's broken on it. But I think it was pretty. That's why I bought it. I even like it with the broken edge. Now I'm just going to take the meat and potatoes. We're going to make this our main part of our bow. This pretty, what is this? It's like a taupey tan colored plaid. And this is the number and the size. It's from craftoutlet.com. I got it so long ago. I do not know if that's still available. If you want to try and look, you can. I also have this in a 2-inch ribbon thickness as well. But so I just cut a slice of it. No measurement as to how big it is. Just as big as my eyes felt like it needed to be. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm just basically an awareness ribbon shape. You pinch it in the middle, and then here I'm fussing with it. Now, I did a lot of editing on this video because I fuss with bows for, I could go for hours. I literally mess with bows way too much. Now, here's the pair of jeans that I've been working off of for a while. If you were around for, excuse me, I bumped my microphone. If you were around for my carrot videos, I was starting to add some of the denim in the carrot videos, but I got these pair of jeans from the thrift store a couple of years ago for a different project. I needed the back pockets. And now with the leftovers, I'm just cutting the strips out on this because what I want to do is I'm going to add these little strips into my bows. They're going to make little accent pieces. And then also for our third project in the video, I needed these strips as well for the idea of the project. And I'll show you once we get there. So you'll at least see this portion of it. I'm just taking my rotary cutter after I cut a large piece off of the shorts, and I'm just cutting it into strips. Now we've got some pretty clean cuts here now too. Now again, they're crooked and they're a little messed up, but don't worry because we're going to fray the jeans and get them to where they need to be. But look at that. So we got all these little strips, but they're kind of neat. Kind of neat and tidy, right? Excuse me. So what you do is to fray the edges, I'm just taking the strips in my hand and I'm running them across my hands. I run my fingers down the edges and look how you automatically get a natural fray. And you can do that with cheesecloth, canvas. This isn't just denim, but this is any type of fabric that will fray or kind of naturally unravel itself. This works out really, really well. So as you see here, then all I'm doing is just picking up the strips and running them through my hands. All I'm doing, literally running them through each hand. It's amazing to me. I love how it looks too. It's also, you get that really crazy weathered denim look. Now, we're going to take some tulle. I got this tulle, I think, also at Hobby Lobby a while back for a project that I honestly couldn't remember what it was for. Now, I'm going to bundle this in my hands. This, at first, I was going to leave this in its loops, but eventually what I do is I cut the loops in half so they just kind of look like a little spray out. And then what happens also is that I'm going to put a tail on it. I end up trimming everything down to just be kind of like a nice little tulle halo in the back of the bow. So as far as hindsight, this particular, me putting it in loops and then I'm going to grab another piece in a second of tulle right here. And we're going to add this in. It's longer than the rest of it, as though it's going to be a tail or the tails to a bow. And again, I end up trimming it all down. So again, you have like a plan, or you want to start out something the way you perceive it, where you want it to be. But by the time you end up getting to the finish line, it may not look anywhere what you thought it would. But this bow was just so cute. I couldn't pass it up. So we're going to make a cute little picture frame out of it. And again, the picture frame itself, what I ended up doing was just a filler. But it is so pretty. It's so cute. Now here's my denim strips. I just kind of put the loops under my thumb. And I grabbed about four of those strips that we made. So I folded 2 in half and then secured them behind my thumb, and then grabbed another 2 and just kind of laid them over my thumb so I have tails. And then now I'm going to, here's my new cute little baby, my little baby spool of jute. It's only 320 some yards. Never going to run out real soon, as you can tell. So make sure you grab it before it runs out, because I'm going to be buying a bunch of it. Now, I did another one of those bundled bows in the middle. I like layers, and especially with jute twine, it adds an accent. If you're looking for farmhouse, if you're looking for vintage, country, whatever, cottagecore, name your style. This particular aesthetic, I love bundling jute to the top of it. Now, you can see here I'm securing it all together with another piece of jute, and I'm doing the same thing that I did on the previous bow. I'm going to be doing a lot of the same things, so literally you can just apply these techniques to whatever your color palette is, your taste, your theme, your holiday, whatever you're doing. Taking that piece of jute that we bundled in the middle, and then wrapped it around a few times to get it a nice little even bundled center, and then I'm going to tie a square knot on the back, which is left over right over left, in case you didn't know. And then fuss and mess with it and get the tails done right. Now, the wired ribbon is the only thing I really messed with. Here's where I want to show you, and I told you earlier, I end up cutting all of the tool loops open, so it's kind of like a sprayed effect. It's just a super cute little bundled happiness, but I end up trimming some more of it off there. Now that we're done with our bow, we're going to go back to the picture frame here. I need to clean up the glass, and also I want the broken part to be on a different corner, which is very easy because this entire backing comes completely off, so I can then turn it whichever direction I see fit. So after I get excuse me, the regular tag off, and then it left a little bit of residue, which wasn't bad. So what I did was I used my heat gun on it just a little bit, just to reactivate the adhesive, and then I used a baby wipe, and it came right off. Super easy to clean the glass, but you should make sure you clean all your glass off, just in case, if you are going to use it as it's intended as a picture frame. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one piece here from this Katharina IOD transfer. This is a brand new one that came out just this past spring's, the spring line that came out. And I'm going to look for a transfer. Now, so this one I just put down here ends up being the one I use. So I'd already cut it off from a project I'd had before. I think it's pretty decent to the colors we want to use. And then this is a little piece of brown craft paper. So I'm going to cut it to fit from the insert that came with the picture frame. I think it's like 3.5 by 5 or something. So I'm literally just cutting a piece of brown paper. I'm making sure everything fits right, and I'm also making sure that I don't have any gaps on the edges, just to make sure. All you want to do, because we're going to put this very pretty transfer on it, and I don't want to waste it. IOD transfers are just a different kind of quality. They're worth the investment. They're not that expensive if you look at them in the bigger picture, but they are absolutely gorgeous, and I've never run into a problem with them just yet. Also, we're going to take the backer off, place it down onto the surface we want to adhere it to. We're going to take some sort of tool, whether it's a stylus or a transfer rub-on, and rub all over that. Then we're going to take the plastic sheet off the top and slowly peel that back while you're rubbing on the transfer. Once you're done with it and you pull this entire piece off, you're going to take the same plastic, rub over the top of it. That's called burnishing. That just ensures that you've got a complete, secure, contact throughout the entire transfer. And now what I'm going to do is just layer the two back together. I always like to keep my inserts in my picture frames. Do you do that? Am I alone on that? For some reason, whenever I buy a picture frame, whatever it came with, the company supplied family photos that are in it, for some reason I like to keep them. But also a lot of times there's measurements and stuff. So after you place it back in, I'm going to pay attention to where the broken edge is. And as you can see here, I was trying to hold it towards myself so I can make sure that I have the backer in the correct way. So then when I stand up, originally it was the top right side that's broken, but now it's the top left side. See here? So that's how I'm going to get past that. Now we're going back to that ground espresso archival ink, and then also the same finger dauber, and I'm going to use this to distress the picture frame. This is the same technique you would use if it was, normally I've used, what is it? Our normal go-to back in the day was Waverly wax. But again, I don't want to put wax on this. So then now my main go-to is the DIY waxes, which are absolutely gorgeous. but I needed this to match kind of what we were already doing, the aesthetic from the basket and the other tag. And here's what I got so far, just rubbing on it. And again, I like it, but now what I'm doing is I'm loading up the dauber and I'm just going in and I'm literally, I'm playing bingo. I'm daubing on top of it, and I have a much deeper, darker concentration in areas, and I was really loving the way this was looking out. So this is no rhyme or reason. It's just me kind of going at things and as I see fit. Now, I know I'm going to attach my bow on the top left, so I didn't put too much over there because that's literally going to be covered 100%. So this was just me adding things into where I felt it was light. And I got a little bit heavier in some corners than others, but I like how it looks. It makes me happy. What do you think, at least on the distressing part of it? And now, with our pretty little bow that we're done, I'm going to just take those loose ends where I bundled it in the middle. I didn't cut it off. Normally you'd cut that off, but I'm going to use this to tie it to the picture frame. I'm just going to feed it through that pretty little filigree work so the frame works for us, not against us. And again, this ends up covering up the fact that the frame is broken there, which I kind of, when I originally bought the frame, I wanted to use it to my advantage, but this turned out pretty well. You know, you can also untie this. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue here just to secure it to the frame, but that's not a permanent fixture. You can literally untie this bow and, you know, maybe warm it up a little bit to get that glue done. But I mean, that glue is not 100% permanent. And then you can take the bow off of it and do anything you want with this frame. So the options are kind of endless. I just didn't want to leave this bow off to the side and then never use it. I just thought it was really cute with the denim strips in it. Also, with how long the tails are, they kind of cascade down the side of the frame and then they sit on the table next to it. Like, kind of like if you're seeing, oh, by the way, there we go. I'm cutting off the tool and then I'm just kind of making it an all even little sunburst of tool coming around the outside of it. And I like how everything kind of drapes off to the side. I like how all of it turned out. It just really made me happy. And there, I didn't waste my bow. I got my bow in. I got the bow in because it was just too cute. But tell me what you think. Is there anything you would have done? This was just, again, I went to go grab something so I could put a bow on it. It's like, have you ever done like part of a project and you're like, well, I'm not going to waste this. I spent X amount of hours. I mean, literally I did. I spent a couple hours. And I don't want to waste it. And I want it to be seen. I want her to be shown. So she now has a place on this picture frame. And tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think about it. Okay, now our last DIY here, we're going to use these mason jar lids. So I have this box here. It says lids with bands. Literally, I just have a box of lids. So I'm sure you can get these anywhere. You would find canning, those types of things. So here we're going to use the lids and the bands together. Now, you remember we already put the denim here in strips. So we're going to take this extra fabric here. That's from leftover from Dollar Tree. And this is like a little quarters. They call them like fat quarters or something. I got that at Joann's many years ago. So just find some complementary fabric. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the fabric that we did with the denim. So what I do is, to make things easier, to cut them into strips. I'm not measuring. I'm not going to get any little chalk pens or pencils out. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to cut it. And I'm going to use my eyes as my measurement, sort of. I'm using this ruler here. That's basically just to make sure I'm making somewhat straight lines. But in any event, I'm cutting them into strips. And then since the fabric's folded in half, you see me use my scissors to cut it into, to cut the halves in half and then make thinner strips here. And now with the larger piece of fabric here from Joann's, we're going to cut it in half first because I obviously don't need the entire thing to be cut into strips. But what I did was cut it in half, then cut that half in half, and then from there I'm taking much longer strips. Same thing, since it's cut, you know, it's folded in half at the top, we're going to have to cut all the ends here to make sure we actually have little strips. So now we have all three of ours. We're going to take the band, and then all three of our little piles of strips here. We're going to use this, and in the U, we're going to place a piece of fabric under the band in a U shape. Then we're going to take the open part of the U, and we're going to pull the tails through that. And I believe that's called like a lark's, it might be called a lark's head knot. Every time I've done this is like how I secure jute to the top of tags, or how you can secure any type of, you know, hanger to the top of like a cutting board, something with a hole in it. It's usually just a loop closed in on itself. You pull the tails through the top of the loop, and that's what you get. We're going to do this over and over and over again around the entire mason jar band. And what we're going for is to make it look like a flower or a sunflower, that type of thing. Now, I saw a ton of these on Pinterest. And of course, they always make, you know, when you're watching a tutorial, they make it look easy. And now you guys are watching mine. So tell me, do I make it look easy? Because I really have no clue what I'm doing, honestly. It's pretty straightforward. again, I'm going to put only a little pieces, just the three of these textures of fabric. But the denim itself doesn't really stand up the way the other fabric does. And then that plaid fabric from the Dollar Tree it's a different kind of fabric. I don't believe it's polyester or cotton. I don't know what it is, but it's very thin, but it's also not stiff at all. Now, the other fabric here at the top left that you see, that pretty cream and tan colored fabric, that's much stiffer. So when you're placing those things around the band, it actually stands up better. And you get the idea what you're trying to go for. Now, with the other two fabrics I chose, they kind of are a little bit too floppy. And I don't really know that at the end of this, if it looks the way I had hoped it would. But you guys, you'll have to tell me your thoughts on it. Now, here's where I got half of it done. And that's what you should really look like. Everything's going as planned. Everything goes as it should. It looks proper. It's just I probably picked the wrong fabrics. I wanted to go for a theme, and I wanted to keep, the colors good together, but let me know when we're done if it even looks like a flower. Now, after you basically fill both of these bands up, I'm making two. At first I thought I was just going to make two hangers, and what I did was I changed my mind and I decided to make one out of a pick. You could put in any kind of thing. You could put it in a vase. You could stick it in one of your potted plants for the season and or decoration. After I got the all of these strips of fabric tied around our bands, I'm now trimming them all to the same height or length so that you get more of that sunflower or flower look to it. Now again, if we had did classic yellow ribbon or something like that, then basically you would know it could do a brown center and it would definitely look like a sunflower. Now I tried to go off, just do more farmhouse feel. In any event, let me know once again. I'll probably ask you like 5 more times too. Now, what I'll do is the center here, we're going to make, you have to make it like a little padded so it kind of looks like the center of the flower. And what I do is, this is an extra piece of batting I had a spare from the many, many projects I've done before. You've seen me use this on wreaths and other types of things, and shaped wreaths, I should say, like the Halloween ones and any of those types of things. And I'm just going to cut them into circles that fit the bands themselves, or sorry, the lids. So we now have that. And I'm also going to take some actual fiber fill or polyfill here, and I'm just going to kind of ball that up into 2 balls, and that will be going underneath the batting, between the batting and the lid itself. So that's, again, just give it an extra little bit of padding. When it's all said and done, it doesn't look like much. I think I squished the fabric a little bit too much, but again, you'll have to tell me. This one, again, you can tell by the way I'm kind of presenting it. I'm not sure, I'm not too confident of the way it turned out, but I definitely want to know what your opinion is on it. I probably will attempt this again later this year, maybe closer to 4th of July or going into fall with an actual sunflower theme, just to see if I can make it look, because to me, I'm not too happy, but I mean, they're pretty. It's pretty, don't get me wrong, they're pretty. I wanted it to just scream sunflower, not just kind of whisper it to you. Now you can tell here, I took the same fabric that we used, that was that larger piece, and I cut out 2 squares. From the squares, I then kind of guesstimated that I want to make them into circles. It's easier to basically fold the fabric around these circles. So if you see, you could basically say like north, south, east, and west. So if I go top, then I go bottom, left, right, and vice versa. And then from there, I will fold in the corners. And that's just to try to get a decent pleated edge. We're going to place these lids inside the bands so the edges don't matter. Literally, I'm spending time on something that doesn't matter. See the little bit of puff right there? It's just enough padding that's super, super cute. Now, taking some twine here, I'm going to go ahead and before you put your centers in is where you want to add either the hole that you're going to place a stem in, or you're going to basically put here our hanger on there. So again, we're going to do the same exact thing we did before with all the fabric, and it's a lark's head knot type deal here. And I'm going to take this extra piece of jute and I'm going to secure it around any portion of the ring itself. So just make sure you've got your fabric strips kind of moved around and out of the way, and then you basically have your hanger. Now I did put one of these on the second one also, because remember I originally intended on doing 2 hangers, then I changed my mind. So that's why behind there you can see that both of them have a hanger on them. Now we're going to take our inserts or our centers, our lids that we covered, and we're going to pop them in. Now I used denim, and the other 2 fabrics are fairly thin, but the denim itself was giving me a little bit of a problem. Normally this should just pop in I mean, it's going to be a tight fit, but not as tight as I have it here. I mean, I was kind of bending the center of it, and then I eventually, here you see I had to get my scissors out and use the handle on my scissors to kind of force it down into the edge it needs. Once this thing is in there, it's not coming out. So if you want to secure it with something on the inside, E6000 or hot glue or whatever your preferred adhesive would be in this instance, go for it. But it's literally not going to go anywhere depending on how thick the fabric is. So now for this one, I'm only doing the hanger. So I cut a piece of denim from those leftover shorts I had, from the shorts I had leftovers on. And I'm going to cover the back of this. This is just to cover the behind the scenes. This is a hanger, so there's a chance that if it's not hanging up against a wall or a door or something, that it could twirl and you may see the back of it. So I'm just trying to finish things off. Again, remember, I like that whole retail shelf quality look, even though it's handmade. This definitely screams handmade. I tell you, this does not look like you would ever find this in any type of store. It's one of a kind. Now I'm going to tie just a little square knot at the top, and then we're going to put a little bow on the top of that jute. And then that's really all there is to it for this particular hanger. Now I am going to add some details to it. I'm going to put a little bit of a bow and some buttons on there, which I did lose the footage, and I'll show you that in a second once we put the stem in on our second little flower hanger here. Now here's where I'm taking that extra hanger out because I'm not going to use it. Now I'm going to go get my crocodile. This is a scrapbooking tool I've had for some time. I have a link in my Amazon shop if you want to take a peek at it. It comes in handy for punching holes in something other than paper. So it does a good, decent thing on, obviously this is a metal piece. It's thin metal. It's not crazy thick. You could probably use even just a paper punch on this type of thing because these bands are pretty thin metal. But it's good for like chipboard or thicker particle board, those types of things. Now there's even a bigger one than this called a Big Bite, but it's because it has a bigger reach. You can get it further in on projects, and I think I have that in my Amazon store too, and I really want one, but I haven't gotten one yet. So for here, I'm just making the hole big enough. I had to kind of double punch it there. If you see, it's kind of shaped a little, almost ovally, a little bit wider, and I just have a regular dowel. This is from my stash. It either came from Walmart or Dollar Tree, but wherever you get your dowels from. Then I'm just making sure that it fits into the hole that we made. So I'm going to pull that right back out. And obviously it was sticking. Now we're going to put our center in the same as we did on the previous one. And see, you can tell how much is sticking out the edge there by, meaning it's super thick. That denim, I think, was my problem child on that too. But this one went in a little bit easier than the other. Again, next time I'll be more mindful of the actual fabrics I'm using. And, this is a good run. I think it turned out cute for, my first time. Again, there are a lot of inspiration and there's a lot of good ideas on Pinterest. Unfortunately, they don't always go into detail. And a lot of times, even if you watch other tutorials, they do a lot of cutting and editing. That's why I like to show you guys from start to finish. Even if I mess something up, I want you to see how I messed it up. And then I want you to see how I fixed it, or at least how I got to the end result. Whether it was, tears and bad decisions, or if it was, all happiness because a decent compromise was made. It's like, okay, I messed it up, but it still looks cute. I think, sort of, kind of. Now, same thing here. As you see, after I put the dowel in, I glued it to the back of our lid, and then also we put another little denim cover over the back. And here's what we got. This is what they look like, right? Now you're going to see me cut to, oh no, they already have buttons on it. And then this one here that I'm cutting at, it already has the bow. So here's the buttons. You remember me using these on our first project when we were making the tag. So this is the same box of buttons I used, and I just grabbed random buttons and I layered them on both of the flowers. Right towards the side. You can see on the top right, I kind of put it off a little diagonal. And then that extra piece of jute was the one that I took off of the pick that we turned into a pick itself. I tied that into a bow. I felt that the second one here on the right also needed a bow, so I just cut a piece of jute from my very small little 375 yard spool of jute. And I'm just doing like you would tie your shoelaces without having shoelaces, I just kind of tied a simple bow. Literally just one loop each. And here you see me messing and fussing and adjusting the loops itself. I spent a lot of time doing this. Like, I sped this up about 3 times. So that's just 3 times as fast as I actually did it. And I still cut a decent amount out because I messed with it way too long. That's one of my things. If for making a YouTube video, I really do have an issue with bows as far as spending way too much time on the little tiny parts of it. But I know a lot of you like the details. You like the little tiny details. So I tried to leave them in. I'll just speed them up a little bit. And from here, I just secured this right into the center. I put glue on the back of the little knot, and then I secured that into the center of that little grouping of buttons. And then that's what we got. That's all she wrote. It's cute, but do you think it looks like a flower? It's very shabby, shaggy, you know, rustic and frayed. I like the fact that the denim has all that extra fray to it. I wanted to put, you can put one of these, again, you ever get like a house plant as a gift or something like that? This, you know, Mother's Day we just had passed, but there's other holidays coming up, or like a hostess gift. You could pop this into any kind of like little house plant or basket for somebody, but it also would look great. Again, I do a lot of stuff for tier tray decor or shelf sitters. I think it's all cute, but tell me your thoughts on this one. Does it look like a flower? Because I don't know if I used the right fabrics, but in any event, I think they're cute, but I want to know what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are. And that's it for this video, guys. We have 3 projects, and I think all of them turned out really, really well. Again, I like the aesthetic of Farmhouse. Now, it's coming up more and more lately that Farmhouse is out. It's out of style, but it's basically, there is no real style per se. It's just do what you like and do what makes you happy. So for now, this stuff makes me happy. So I will continue to distress. I'll continue to use buffalo check and different this, but I went with a lot more naturals. And again, I'm adding a lot of denim into things, and sorry, not sorry, or sorry, whichever you want to pick from that. But tell me your thoughts. The denim itself is super cute. It looked really great on the bright orange carrots for Easter. It's looking good here in my farmhouse, and I've even added some into the pumpkins. I'm already starting to make pumpkins for this season that's coming up in fall. So I like how they all turned out. But tell me your thoughts. What you would do, what you wouldn't do, what you like, which one's your favorite. Now, I have a coffee page, so if you like my videos or you feel like you've learned anything from them and you want to send a donation that way, every little bit helps. But you can also take a peek at my coffee shop where my DIYs are listed for sale. And that's it, guys. So I want to thank you so much for sticking with me. And if you've made it this far, send me a little happy face or an emoji or a little pumpkin. You know how I like the pumpkins. And with all that being said, I love you guys more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.